Hello, you are welcome to New Focus Approach to Mathematics Basic 7. This is the revised edition, and in this video, we want to learn how to find back bearing for bearings that are less than or greater than 180 degrees. So let's understand back bearing. Back bearing simply means this. Let's say we are in Achimota at the moment, and this is our spot, okay? And we are to travel to, say, Dome, and they give us a direction to move. And the direction means we have to move, let's say, from the North Pole, we should turn clockwise, maybe 120 degrees or 110 degrees. Then we head towards the place called Dome. When we get to Dome, we locate our point over there as well. And then we can have our North Pole. Now, if you want to know the direction of Dome from Achimota, then it means that we were at Achimota and we moved this distance at this angle, and that gave us the direction. Now, if we want to know the direction of Achimota, rather from Dome, that means we are going to be at Dome and we are going to move towards Achimota. Right from the North Pole of Dome, we take from the North Pole clockwise and we move up to the line here. And the whole of this angle becomes our bearing that will move from Dome to Achimota. Now, back bearing simply means that the direction that took you to a particular place, what will be the reverse direction that will bring you back to the original position? That is all about back bearing. All right, we'll be using the grammatical form to calculate back bearing and also use the formula as well. Now, let's take example. The bearing of B from A is 70 degrees. Find the bearing of A from B. So you can see the reverse. The bearing of B from A is 70. So I am at point A here and I'm moving to point B. Because the question says the bearing of B but from A. So from A, I move an angle of 70 degrees, okay, and get to the point called B. Now, so the bearing of B from A is 70. Now the question says, find the bearing of A from B. That means you want to know A, but I want to take it from B. So from the North Pole of B, we move up to the line that links between the two. Right. So we know this 90, here too is 90, making the whole of this 180. We know that already. Then we know also that the line here and the line here are parallel. And so because they are parallel, we apply the concept of alternate angles. That is the Z angles. Can we see that? So if here is 70, then the remaining angle here too will be 70. If I add the 70 to the 180, then I get the back bearing. So I'm going to have 250. So it means that the bearing that took me from A to B was 70, but the one that will bring me back is 250 degrees. That is how we find the bearing. We'll use the formula to do this again. Second one, if the bearing of the chief palace from the hospital is 120 degrees, find the bearing of the hospital from the chief's palace. And again, we are at the hospital because the question is the bearing of the chief palace from the hospital. So from the hospital should come first. So from the hospital, we go to the chief palace, right? Good. We go to the chief. So this is where we have our chief palace. Now, the question says the bearing that took us to the chief palace is 120 degrees. So we have 120 like this. Now we want to know the bearing that will bring us back. That is going to be from the North Pole of the chief palace up to this point. Now, how do we get it? We know that if this alone, okay, the angle small here is going to be 30 degrees because 90 plus 30 will give us the 120. That means the angle also over here will be 30 because of alternate angle, right? Now, if this 30 is added to the 270 angle that we have here, because you're going to have 90, 90, 90, so making 270 plus 30, and that will give us 300 degrees. So the bearing that will take us back is 300 degrees. So you can read bearings now. Now, in general, what we can conclude is that if we have a bearing of P from Q and the angle is theta, then the bearing that will take it back, Q from P, if that angle is less than 180, just add that angle to 180, it will give you your results. And if the angle is more than 180, just subtract 180 from the angle and you get the results. Now let's go back and look at the first example that we had. Okay, the first example was the bearing of this. The angle that was given was 70, and 70 is less than 180. So for us to get the reverse, just add 70 to 180, and that will give us 250. And that is exactly the answer we had here. Do you see that? Again, look at the second one too. Here too, the angle that was given us was 120. So the reverse angle will be 120 plus 180 because 120 is less than 180. And so the angle is 300. So you see, you can do this without even the diagram. Good. Okay, let's take another example. The bearing of P from Q is 210. Find the bearing of Q from P. Diagrammatically, we say the bearing of P from Q. So we are at a point of Q and we are moving 210. So 210 will move. Okay, let's make it like this. So Q is here and 210 means that we are going to move up to this point. Okay, if here is 180, we need 30 here to add up to give us the 210. Then we get to the point of P. All right, so how do we find the back bearing, the bearing of Q from P? That means Q from P, and then from P, we are going to look at the north pole of P and read the angle clockwise to meet the line. And so if this small angle here is 30, then the corresponding angle here or the alternate angle here also be 30. That means the bearing of Q from P is 30 degrees. If you use the formula, because the angle here is more than 180, we are going to have theta minus 180. Theta is 210. So when you take away 180 from 210, so the answer will come obviously as 30 degrees. I'm sure this video has really helped you to know how to calculate the back bearing. Go ahead and solve more questions on your own. With this, we come to the end of this lesson. Enjoy the rest of your day.